the good guys, why then do you and Hillary want to control and restrict and limit gun manufacturers, gun owners, and the responsible use of guns and ammunition to the rest of us, the good guys, instead of holding the bad guys accountable for their actions? And Mr. President, if I may, I'd like to use Chicago, your hometown, a city that has some of the strictest gun laws in the nation, a city that for decades and still is under Democratic control, a city that has an outrageous and even embarrassing murder rate as my first example. Why can't we round up these thugs, these drug dealers and gang members, and hold them accountable for their actions, or allow the good people in Chicago access to firearms to protect themselves?
Good. All right. Well, let me, it's a multi-part question. So,
I mean, they always frame it like Obama was coming door to door with a confiscation list when that's not the case. You know, this is kind of like a Fox News cinematic universe in one question, a completely made up premise delivered with essentially total confidence because they've been told this lie every single day for 8 years. That said, if you haven't already, leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, hype it up. Let's get into it.
All right. Well, let me, it's a multi-part question. So let me just say a couple things. First of all, the notion that I or Hillary or Democrats or whoever you want to choose are hell-bent on taking away folks' guns is just not true. And I don't care how many times the NRA says it. I'm about to leave office. There have been more guns sold since I've been president than just about any time in U.S. history. There are enough guns for every man, woman, and child in this country. And at no point have I ever proposed confiscating guns from responsible gun owners. So it's just not true.
Exactly. You know, you see how he doesn't get defensive. He calmly states the facts. And of course, gun sales went up because the NRA spent 8 years scaring people into thinking confiscation was coming any day now.
What I have said is precisely what you suggested, which is why don't we treat this like every other thing that we use? We used to have really bad auto fatality rates. The auto fatality rate has actually dropped precipitously, drastically since I was a kid. Why is that? We decided we had seatbelt laws. We decided to have manufacturers put airbags in place. We decided to crack down on drunk driving and texting. We decided to redesign roads so that they were less likely to have a car bank. We studied what is causing these fatalities using science and data and evidence, and then we slowly treated it like the public health problem it was, and it got reduced. We are not allowed to do any of that when it comes to guns because people, if you propose anything, it is suggested that we're trying to wipe away gun rights and impose tyranny and martial law.
Yeah, I mean, this is the part they never air on right-wing media, ever. The actual policy position that treats this like every other public safety issue we've already solved in this country and have come upon, like he's saying.
Do you know that Congress will not allow the Center for Disease Control to study gun violence? They're not allowed to study it because the notion is that by studying it the same way we do with traffic accidents, somehow that's going to lead to everybody's guns being confiscated.
They literally banned the CDC from studying gun violence, and that's insane. You know, I've heard that before. And, you know, people really are scared of getting their guns taken away. You know, because they know what research would show. They know what those results would show on a screen. You know, that's not governance. That's covering your ears and pretending reality doesn't exist. And I get it. He gets it. We get it. You know, we know why it's not allowed.
When we talked about background checks, if you buy a car, if you want to get a license, first of all, you got to get a license. You have to take a test. People have to know that you know how to drive. You don't have to do any of that with respect to buying a gun. And when we talked about doing effective background checks, It was resisted because the notion was we were going to take your guns away. I just came from a meeting today in the Situation Room in which I've got people who we know have been on ISIL websites, living here in the United States, U.S. citizens, and we're allowed to put them on the no-fly list when it comes to airlines. But because of the National Rifle Association, I cannot prohibit those people from buying a gun.
The fact that you could be on a no-fly list as a suspected terrorist, but still walk into a store and buy an AR-15. God, man, you know, explain to me how that makes anyone safer when it comes down to that.
This is somebody who is a known ISIL sympathizer, and if he wants to walk in to a gun store or a gun show right now and buy as many weapons as ammo as he can, nothing's prohibiting him from doing that, even though the FBI knows who that person is. So, sir, I just have to say respectfully that there is a way for us to have common sense gun laws. There is a way for us to make sure that lawful, responsible gun owners like yourself are able to use it for sporting, hunting, protecting yourself. But the only way we're going to do that is if we don't have a situation in which anything that is proposed is viewed as some tyrannical destruction of the Second Amendment. And that's how the issue too often gets framed.
Man, dude, I miss him, man. He's such a good speaker. But this is the core of it. Any common sense measure, no matter how modest, gets weaponized as they're coming for your guns. They're going to take our guns. They're taking my guns. Watch out, you know, oppose it. You know, don't let them do it. Because the gun lobby, you know, needs you terrified to keep profits up is basically what it is. At the end of the day, it's always about money somehow, some way.
The other day, a heckler tried to interrupt President Obama's speech, but it totally failed. Obama responded by saying, hey, if you want to scream, go set up your own rally, and then he perfectly diffused the situation. Just take a look at the clip.
Are you going to start yelling? Don't start yelling. Don't start yelling. Come on. Why are you starting yelling? Hold on a second, everybody. Don't get distracted. Wait. Hold up. Hey, young man, just listen for a second. You know, you have to be polite and civil when people are talking, then other people are talking, and then you get a chance to talk. Set up your own rally. A lot of people worked hard for this. Come on, man. Come on. This increasing habit of demonizing political opponents, of just yelling, and thinking not just that I disagree with somebody, but that they're evil or wrong, that creates a dangerous climate.
Again, such a good speaker. He doesn't even break his stride, just offers them the mic if they want to have an actual conversation instead of performing for whatever video they're trying to make, which is really nice.
Okay, I've heard you. All right. Okay. I understand. Listen, hold on, young lady, don't just start yelling, young ladies. Hey, sir, why don't you sit down too? Listen. Here, can I just say this? All right, I've listened to you. I heard you. All right. Now I've been respectful. I'll let you holler. All right. So let me. Nobody's removing you. I've heard you, but You got to listen to me too. All right? So, and I understand you may disagree. I understand you may disagree. But we got to be able to talk honestly about these issues. All right? Although I disagree with some of your characterizations, it doesn't make much sense to yell at me right now when we're making changes. So the point is, let's make sure that you get the facts and that you know exactly what we're doing, and then if you have disagreements, then you can work through all the immigrants' rights organizations that we work with to try to address some of your concerns. Right? So, but here's what won't work. What won't work is folks just shouting at each other. All right? So I've been respectful. I've responded to your question. I'd ask you now to let me speak to all the other people who are here. All right? Okay. Okay, it's good to be back in Chicago. So, because everybody's got something to say.
This is what actual leadership looks like, right? You know, he acknowledges them, doesn't have to throw them out, get them kicked out, and then calmly reminds everyone that shouting over someone isn't the same as making an argument. And that's why people love Obama. You know, he's a great speaker, always has been, and a great leader overall. That said, if you guys haven't already, please make sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. If you see the hype function down below, click on that, hype up the video, gets a little bit more eyes on the content. Thank you so much. Have a good one.